Northern Legacy on Northern Life is brought to you by Dahlberg Law.
Welcome back, folks. We are excited to chat once again with our friend Chris Dahlberg of Dahlberg Law Office. Thank you so much again for joining us. Yeah, we've talked a lot here. I've learned so much just over these 5 conversations, and I hope folks at home definitely have learned a lot as well. And there's a lot surrounding this whole process. We've talked very specifically about wills versus trust, but maybe it's important to take a step back for a second and talk more about the basic will and why that can be so important to this.
Sure, and I think so much, Hunter, people hear about, I have to have a trust, and they almost feel like they're the village idiot if they don't have the trust, because they say, well, my neighbor's got a trust, why am I not getting a trust? But you know, a basic will for a lot of families works out fine. And knock on wood, here's a little wood table, the will won't even be used. So we keep it simple. The will's only a backup, but we talk about doing death beneficiary designations. And so we say, how do you transfer your house? How about your stocks? You know, how about your bank accounts? And we talk about practical things.
Okay.
And really, there's 2 questions when people come into my office, as far as overall, whether it's a basic will or a trust. And it's what do you got? And where does it go? Because you're not taking it with you. Some people think that they can take it all the way up there to heaven, but you can't. And
not
so then, but with a basic will, you know, the goal is no probate, whether I do a trust or a will, because that's a very expensive proposition to have to do that. And that's when you haven't planned, and then you have to go up to the court and say, here's how things go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you touch a little bit more about why a basic will might not be ideal for a situation, but why it still could be important?
Well, it might not be ideal. It's important because if you don't have a will and you die what's called intestate without a will, the government will decide how it is by the law. So let's say, for example, you didn't have any kids and you die intestate. It doesn't go necessarily to your siblings. First, it goes up to your parents. Well, you might have a parent that's in a nursing home. And do you want their estate to go to them? The other thing is, if your parents predeceased, maybe it goes back up to them, they've passed away, it goes back to your siblings. You might have a brother or sister you've never got along with quite well, and all of a sudden they're going to get everything. Is that, you know, so that's why a will takes over. Yeah.
Earlier in these segments you mentioned will versus trust, but how often are both of these used compared to the other one?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd say probably a will could be used maybe 75% of the time. And so for a lot of people, it works out fine. So example, if you're a married couple, you've been married 40 years, no blended family with kids, and you got 3 kids, they got their heads on straight, and you got basic assets, meaning you don't have a cabin or something, you just have a house and you know it's going to be sold and the stocks are going to go to the kids on death, you can just do a basic will.
Okay, so are basic wills more for those with less money and trusts more for those with a ton of money, or is that kind of a misconception?
Actually, it is a misconception.
Okay.
It's great. You can have $3 million and it might work okay. If basic will, you can get by on it. And I'll always give recommendations to them which way they go. But sometimes you might have little amount of money, but let's say you have a cabin out in Cromwell or out in McGregor and it's ready to lean over, but it's been in the family 3-4 generations. You might want to do a trust there because you say, we don't want to lose that. So there's a lot of things. It's really about how sentimental, emotional, important it is to my clients.
Well, we sure appreciate you joining us here talking more about this and maybe taking a step back and learning a little bit more about the basic will.
Well, it's good to have the opportunity. I appreciate it. Yeah,
of course. Thank you so much here, Chris. And if you folks at home want to get in contact with Dahlberg Law Office, you can find them online at dahlberglaw.com or call them at 218-722-5809.